Right, Johnny, people can't see it on the thing, but you're sat here right next to your laptop. You've got the racing post. So I'm guessing that you're still, and you've got the TV right in front of your bed there. So I'm guessing you're still punting.
I still have a bet, Simon. I love the game. As I say, I've gambled for 60 odd years. I love a football bet. I like a cricket bet. I like different bets, but I wouldn't play a penny in the pound to what I once played. I still like a bet. Don't have many bets. I speak to Stevie Lewis Hamilton every day, and when he fancies something, as he does, say 3 or 4 times a week, my darling daughter would come put me. I'd have 200 quid on. Where once I could have 20 or 30 grand on, where now 200, 300 quid would be a big bet for me. I still, as I say, I'm over not getting out of bed, not being able to get out of bed. Touch wood, I like to think I'm over the worst. Doctors are pretty happy with me. I once, 2 years ago, was on 21 tablets a day. Now, thank God, I've gone from 21 tablets, I'm now on 10 a day. And, I love to watch the sport. I like a bet. I like a cricket bet. I like a golf bet. But, as I say, not a penny in the pound to what I once played. Still think there's no better sensation of backing a winner. And, I like to follow certain trainers. I like to back a Willie Mullins horse in Ireland. Not that I know anything, I only guess. But he looks to me a top guy. And, as I say, that's it.
Do the bookmakers let you bet with them then? Are they're not scared of your money?
Well, what happened was I was very disappointed in Betfair. They came to me when they first opened and they said, Johnny, amongst others, you're welcome to have an account with us, because I was, quite a big player. However, they got me my first computer, they bought me. At Christmas, I'd get a case of, Cavoisier, or they weren't mean, and I was very friendly with Betfair. Always got a good deal. However, as time went on, Betfair, from being there, was allowed to play on the Asian market. Now, believe me, the Asian market is massive. And on cricket in Asia, sides like Pakistan, test match, the figures would be astronomical. There may have been 7 or 8 million traded on Betfair on a test match. Asia market, very, very strong. And they became a big force. Now, in the early days, there was high street betting shops. Corals, Hills, Ladbrokes, Betfred, Paddy Power. Along came Betfair. Victor Chandler was offered, would he like to have shares in it? And many people was offered shares in it. In the city, I think the original stake was 25 grand if you wanted to buy a share in it. Because what happened was they ran out of readies, and the software they had to use was much more expensive than they anticipated. There was a commentator on the telly, can't think of his name. His son was a very big name in Betfair. Right, carry on. I used to play quite big. But once they got established with the Asia market, they weren't so happy with Johnny Lights, because where I was a prominent player at the beginning, they had guys in Asia that would literally play in hundreds of thousands. When they first started, as I say, the high street bookmakers didn't take a lot of notice. They thought they would come and go. But unfortunately for them, the weaker they got, because people were playing Betfair, the stronger Betfair became. Now, the high street shops started to have to take notice of them. Eventually, there were so many hoops from the high street shops that they really put the Gambling Commission in a situation where, and their argument was, to be a layer, you had to have a permit. And they said Betfair were illegal, letting certain people be a layer that had no permit. Said to the Gambling Commission, what's going on? Then, apparently, I was told by a Betfair client, several people, I don't know, would launder money up on Betfair. They'd be put 10 or 20 grand in, and if they got 10 or 12 back, they'd be happy, because it was washing up the money. Then the Gambling Commission really got, was put in a position by the high street that they really had to do something about it. Then the Gambling Commission started to drive the exchange players, Betfair, Betdac. They decided to make it pretty difficult for them. And they had not a lot of alternative, Betfair and Betdac, because they were being now drove mad by the Gambling Commission. They made it very hard. They couldn't wash up the money anymore. Every sum of money that was put in the Betfair, whoever put it in was asked certain questions. Where's it come from, and this and that. Cut a story short, I then had been playing with them quite a time when I phoned up one day, went to my bank, put some money in. They said to me, you know, we have to ask you through the Gambling Commission where the money's come from. I said I'd been a big player over the years, but I couldn't convince them that it was straight money. And they made it very difficult for me. I could play with them, but every money you deposited, there was a steward's inquiry. Where's it this and where's it that? And I got fed up. Eventually, I decided that I didn't want to play anymore with Betfair. I was home. I didn't know much was going on, and I was terrified of getting hotted up, and I eventually stopped playing. Now, I don't play with any exchanges. My daughter or my wife, if I want a bet, they go to the, you know, there's a couple of hill shops, coral shops, where if you wanted it, you could get a fair bet, but as I say, I don't now play in big figures. Say, a monkey now for me would be a massive bet. My bets now would be 1.5, 200 quid, 2.5, depending on Stevie Hamilton, how much he fancied one. I'd measure it out, and that was that. But from buying me my first computer and sending me Christmas cases of Tops wine, I was very disappointed, as I say. From at the start, I was one of the very first to play on Betfair. They treated me like a king. But from the time at the end, I was just, you know, it was hard to speak to anybody on the phone, and they became very Asian-minded, and that was it. So I turned it up with them. I don't know for sure, but I do think that exchange players, exchange companies, I think, I guess, I don't know, but I think they're all in cahoots with each other. I then was playing with when I left Betfair, I started playing with BetDac. You know, it was owned by a guy called Desi Desmond from Scotland, and all of a sudden I started having problems with them. Phone up, want to deposit 10 grand. Oh, Mr. Handel, we have to ask you where it came from. And they start out at the finish, what we're not being well and not being my old self. I couldn't dare come into, I just didn't want to play. Number one, the reason I didn't want to play was 13 years ago, at the start of being ill, I had a lot of money. But as you well know, just keep going to the well over 13 years, it knocked a big hole in the tank. And, you know, every time I had a roll call, I had less than I had before. And naturally, you know, I've got a beautiful place here that's paid for. We're not every night drinking champagne. We like good food. And touch wood, the tank should last us, you know, till we're pushing up the daisies. But it wouldn't last if I'd have got involved and done lumps. So now I decided, as I say, I'd have a bet in the betting shop. They put a bet on for me. And I wouldn't be a loser. As I say, very much on Stevie Hamilton's card. Still in touch with a couple of real good judges on football. And fancied myself as a cricket judge. Over the years, I've loved cricket since a kid. I never lived far from the Oval. Lived in Camberwell. Would go to the Oval. I watched Keith Miller, Richie Benno, as far back as that. And over the years, I've become a fair judge at cricket. You know, I don't get myself at it. But I reckon, and I'm known for it, to be a fair judge at cricket. I like a cricket bat. I once tried to play golf. I had 4 swings at a ball and never got it off the floor. So I lost a bit of interest in golf. I like to watch a major golf now. I lay here and some for 4 days, as you know. I may have a bet at the beginning, 50 quid. Perhaps dig out 3 I fancy, 50 quid on each. And I'd enjoy it for the tournament. I still like a major when the major's on at tennis. I quite like a bet, and that's that. Thank God in 1966, no, the year before the World Cup, I met my darling Megan. I must have been informed that day. From 1966, when I was 18, we got married the following year, 67, and for 55 years, last October the 22nd, I've worshipped her, she's worshipped me. Couldn't be more happy. And over the last 13 years, God forbid, certain things she's had to do for me, I couldn't tell you, and I could never repay her. Thank God I'm now, hopefully, I don't like talking too quick, but I'm as, you know, health-wise, as good as I've been in 13 years. As I say, 2 or 3 times when I've had sepsis and different bits and pieces, I came very near to pushing the days up. But now, thank God, still got my lymphedema, still got my cellulitis, gone deaf, but thank God, I still enjoy my life. I've got wonderful carers. I like watching the television. I don't miss many sports. I'm sport mad. I lay here, I've got a nice comfortable home, thank God. We're in no money problems, providing I'm sensible for the next time comes of passing on, and all in all, as ill as I've been, I'm very happy.
Brilliant. Well, Johnny Lights, really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Simon.